Hey, well, welcome to Bethel Church's Daily Hope Devotional. Thanks for tuning in today. So, Laura and I, and about 150 other people from both our Bethel Church campuses, Santa Clara and San Jose, we just finished bagging thousands of bags of groceries for our Hope for the Holidays event. By the time you watch this, that event will have already passed. But we just wrapped up bagging thousands of bags. And a big thank you to all of you who came out and served. We had a phenomenal showing, and it was a great time. And so I'm just kind of taking this all in. I'm looking down this long driveway of thousands of bags of groceries that are ready to be given out. And I just kind of took it in. And I thought to myself, it's super important. This is important work, serving the masses, serving people in need, serving the crowds, both our neighbors, which we would have fed last Sunday, but also nations around the world. Jesus has got a heart for the nations. And we took our One Day to Feed the World offering through, we give that to Convoy of Hope, One Day to Feed the World. Well, what is that, Frank? Well, you give one day's wage to help people every day who are in desperate need. I mean, they've got phenomenal feeding program. They feed over 360,000 kids every day in many nations. And it's desperate time because of some of the typhoons that are coming through the Philippines. It's wiped out some of their feeding stations. So it's a desperate time for Convoy. But the truth is, when I got to thinking about it, so we're feeding neighbors and nations, but there are millions and millions of people who are in need of that kind of compassion. Jesus makes this very point in Matthew chapter 9. We looked at that last Sunday briefly. Matthew chapter 9, verses 35 through 38. Jesus talked about reaching the crowds. And this is what he said. And Jesus went throughout all the cities. This is Matthew describing what Jesus was doing. He went throughout all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and proclaiming the gospel of the kingdom and healing every disease and every affliction. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd, directionless. Then he said to his disciples, he turns back to his disciples, and he says, the harvest is plentiful. The opportunity to show compassion and make a difference, that opportunity is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into the harvest. And it got me thinking, showing compassion to the crowds, to the masses, is super important. But often it begins with just a willingness to reach one with compassion. And all of us can do that. Jesus met temporary needs and eternal needs. It says he went about sharing the gospel of the kingdom. What is that all about? That there is a life beyond this life, that you can be forgiven, that you could live free of the past, free of your failures, and there's a promised and forever life waiting for you. There's a world beyond this world. And Jesus talked about it, the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God. It's a forever life. But he also healed every disease, dis-ease. There are a lot of people struggling with dis-ease, right? And it says he healed every affliction. I was part of a meeting with several pastors, and one of our city council members was there as well. Great guy. Titled United Against the Poverty Pandemic. That was the organization that was representing. I was shocked to learn that over 58,000 families in Santa Clara County alone make between $15,000 and $35,000 a year annually. And they are the ones that have been hit the hardest by the pandemic, and they lost their job. And now unemployment's running out. They estimate that about a third of those families are in danger of homelessness. Well, you hear numbers like this and it becomes overwhelming. real quick. Yet in Matthew chapter 9, Jesus challenges his disciples. It would have been just as overwhelming in their day. He says, look, I want you to pray for laborers and I want you to be one. Pray for the Lord of the harvest to send laborers, because it's not the need is there, but also be one. Follow Jesus's example. Be a laborer in the harvest field. Be a sent out person. Bethel family, I'll tell you, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for your commitment to serve and to give for the sake of the crowds, for the sake of the masses, especially during this pandemic. We showed compassion. We provided food and the love of Jesus to thousands and thousands and thousands, both our neighbors, but also through our Convoy of Hope offering. I mean, to touch kids and families around the world. And it's important. It's important work. But during this holiday season, as we come into this Christmas season, we're going to have some opportunities to touch people in need. This Christmas season, it's going to be. We're going to kick off a new series on December 6th, coming home to Christmas. We're going to preach through the Advent calendar. It's going to be an important December. I would just remind us during this holiday season, let's not forget the power and the impact of reaching one with compassion. Of reaching one. Because every person counts, and we can all reach one. We can all do that. Thanks for tuning in today to Bethel Church's Daily